all these like, like the
Other
cosmic
influence,
rays, coming in.
Yeah.
We're getting bombarded by like hardcore stuff.
Yeah, I guess it would depend on how long this rising of melanoma has been taking place. Is it a long cycle? And, could it be a result of like the long-term Earth magnetic field getting less in strength?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do we got? Should I do one more?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There's a long one. From, let's see what he signed it as. From Ben, called Vines and Stuff. Hey, Russ and Kyle, found you guys through Cosmographia and have been going through the back catalog of podcasts since. I hail from South Australia, in a little country town called Loxton North, which is filled with vineyards. So that was one similarity which compelled me to write. I have worked in vineyards my whole life, except for a 5-year stint as a computer tech, which earned me more money but paled in comparison to the serene life of the vineyard. I'm not listening to the podcast in any particular order and just happen to be on the Giza power plant episodes right now, and I find them quite an informative way to take in the information. I heard Chris Dunn mention a book, Worlds Before Our Own, by Brad Steiger. I have this book, and I'm always surprised how no one with our interests ever mentions it, as it is chock full of amazing out-of-place artifacts, stories, and finds, proving human history to be vastly different than what we are taught.
Ah.
In this book, Steiger even says, years before Fingerprints of the Gods came out, that we are a species with amnesia, in those exact words. I think he maybe got a bit fruity in some of his later works, and therefore people stay away from mentioning him because of that. But this book is amazing. Yeah, so Steiger probably got it from Velikovsky, which is where that originates, the idea that we're a species with amnesia.
Yeah.
Another similarity which compelled me to write is that I'm a musician also and have built a studio next to my house, which is situated, you guessed it, on a vineyard. So my studio is nestled between vines. Lovely. One more similarity is that I enjoy a pipe every now and again. And a while ago, I heard Kyle putting a call out for nice tobacco. All I can say is Captain Black, Cherry, the end.
Yeah.
Tis all I smoke. I have non-smokers asking me for a puff because it smells so damn good.
Yep.
And another similarity is that I like beer. Although I'm not inclined to think that's an exclusive similarity. At present, I am contracting my services as...
Wait. You like beer and smokes too? Dude, we should totally hang out.
At present, I am contracting my services as a vine trainer. When vineyards plant new patches of vines, they pay me to train them up along the trellis in summertime, prune them in winter, and finish them off the next summer if required, basically leaving them as a finished patch of vines ready for harvesting. Because of this, I work alone and spend my days listening to book after book and podcast after podcast. The beauty of this existence I struggle to convey to others who see me as performing a repetitive job, minute after minute. They seem to have no regard for the audio stream flowing into my ears. To me, the work is done by my body on autopilot, but my brain is in a constant state of information seeking and processing, and the amount I have learned in the last 5 years since doing this contracting business is phenomenal.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah.
Anyway, we were recently on holiday at a riverside town not far from us, and I was walking up a hill and was waiting for my 13-year-old son, who decided he was going to come with me. And while I was waiting and pondering, I was looking at the scene displayed in the photo I have attached. To us looking now, it is obvious what it is, a turntable for the end of the line on a railway. However, as I mused and had a few more puffs of my pipe, I realized in 500 or maybe 100 years' time, or maybe not even that, all the wood and steel would be completely gone, leaving only the stone circles. Will the future humans be looking at this stone circle and writing books about how it was a ceremonial ring for some religious purpose or some stone circular rubbish dump because there is simply no way for them to see all the things that were there in the first place?
That's great.
So yeah, it's a place where they would, rotate the tracks.
Yeah.
I quite often think about this when looking at ancient sites. How much was built out of materials that didn't last? And now we are trying to decode the reason things were built with only a small piece of the puzzle left for our contemplation. Anyway, if you need someone to train up some young vines one day, I'd love to come along on a working holiday. You supply the food, accommodation, and pipe tobacco, and I'll work my magic with a little vinifera. Although I might have to bring my wife and kids too, or they might wonder where I am. Cheers for the podcast and keeping the dream alive. Snikes! From Ben.
Yeah, that's cool. Really cool, man.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to have you out here. That'd be cool. All right. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ready to take a break? I got to remember.
Yes,
How do
sir.
I remember? How do I mark where? Well, we can figure this out off.
Put a flag on it. Put a flag on the last one. You got stars. Put a flag on it. There you go.
Flag him as spam.
Flag it.
Flag him as spam so that I know where he is.
All right, we'll be right back.
Yep.
History, Snake Bro style. You know, on Brothers of the Serpent podcast. I printed out a paper last week, and I was planning to go through and meticulously mark it up to do a report. And instead, I did it in the last 5 minutes before we started the show, hurriedly.
Classic.
Because Russ had an article about it, and I was like, no way. I have the whole actual paper.
Right.
So I'm going to...
Hold on. I get to crack a beer because Kyle's probably going to take up most of this. So yeah, this is one of the gifts. This is a Rogue Bat Squatch. Hazy India Pale Ale. Not sure who sent us this, but thank you guys so much. And this is dedicated to the legend, is what it says.
Nice.
Oh, shit. All right. Also, I need my pyramid.
Oh, here you go.
Stop the show.
Soul likes to put the stopwatch in it.
Okay.
Which I think is kind of cool. Stop the show.
Stop.
Got to get my beer.
Gotta get my beer and my pyramid.
So, so we'll see if I did the markup okay.
Ooh, that's good.
This is the title of the paper is that New AMS Radiocarbon Ages from the Pre-Ceramic Levels. And I'm going to mispronounce a lot of these place names, obviously. Yeah. I guess I'm going to pronounce this Koenigswald Cave. It's Coxcatlan.
Oh, yeah. It's got an X in it. Can't help you.
Well, I'm not going to pronounce the X. Which is in Puebla, Mexico. A Pleistocene occupation of the Tehuacan Valley. And with a question mark. A Pleistocene occupation of the Tehuacan Valley?
Question mark? That's it.
Yeah. And this is Andrew D. Somerville et al. Through 4 seasons of field surveys, excavations, and laboratory analyses between 1961 and 1964, Richard S. McNeish and the Tehuacan Archaeological Botanical Project, called TABP, were the first to systematically explore the archaeology of the Tehuacan Valley of south-central Mexico. The arid conditions of the valley have resulted in the exceptional preservation of organic materials within a series of dry caves, enabling the TABP to recover and document thousands of specimens of early domesticated plants, including chili peppers, avocados, squash, beans, maize. Skip a bit, brother! Although nearly 200 radiocarbon ages from archaeological settlements across the valley have been produced by the TABP and subsequent projects, the chronology for the pre-ceramic phases and the timing of the beginning of the plant cultivation within the Tehuacan Valley have remained topics of scrutiny and debate.
So by pre-ceramic, are they just meaning pre-pottery,
No pottery.
Or do they mean no fired pottery? Because
no pottery found. So I guess if it wasn't fired, it melted away.
Okay.
There's just no pottery found. So that's a good question, I guess. But Koenigswald Cave has been the focus for much of the discussion of the chronology of human activities because of its deep stratigraphy and excellent preservation. Radiocarbon dating was combined with the stratigraphic record of material culture to establish the foundation of the broader Tehuacan chronology by Johnson and McNeish in 1972. Later studies using direct AMS radiocarbon assays of botanical samples, however, found that approximately 75% of the plant specimens excavated from Koekatlan Cave were drastically out of sequence. And so they go in to more detail about the various studies going to, 1994, 1999, 89, 2005, 1996, and 1999.
AMS is the accelerated mass spectrometry, by the way.
That's right.
That's the new version, which is supposedly much more accurate and requires smaller sample sizes.
So, yeah, they just go through all these, the various problems with the some of the different dates. Anyway, in an effort to reassess the pre-ceramic sequence of Koekatlan Cave and refine the chronology of the Tehuacan Valley, this article presents 14 new C14 radiocarbon ages produced by accelerator mass spectrometry of faunal bones excavated from the rock shelter by the TABP. We compare our resulting radiocarbon ages with previously published radiocarbon data from the cave and construct a chronological Bayesian model of the phases of the pre-ceramic sequence. So, in our discussion of the data, we pay particular attention to the age estimates and archaeological context from the Ahuereado phase zones, which are at the very bottom of the cave. So that's the oldest one, and I need to figure.
Wow.
Ahuereado phase.
Ahuereado?
Yeah, Ahuereado. Anyway, so they say within the cave. This is so the title of this part is the Koekatlan Cave and the pre-ceramic period. So it goes through the period of the pre-ceramic period. Within the cave, the TABP excavated to a maximum depth of approximately 4 meters, documenting 28 horizontal stratigraphic levels or habitation zones and 42 discrete occupational episodes. The zones occupied by people who did not make or use pottery.
Wow, that's like in 12 feet, they found 42 occupation zones?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Hereafter referred to, because it was like bands of like small groups of people.
Okay.
In some cases, not occupied for very long.
Yeah. And caves don't have, maybe that's area of the cave doesn't have normal deposition, so.
Yeah, and it has rock falls and stuff.
Okay.
The zones occupied by people who did not make or use pottery, hereafter referred to as the pre-ceramic zones, are the earliest levels of the rock shelter. These zones have been divided into 4 cultural phases based on changes in the stone tool technology, basketry, and woven matting, and settlement patterns across the valley, and through cross-cultural comparisons with sites in Oaxaca, or I don't know how to pronounce that either, Oaxaca. Anyway, from oldest to youngest, these are the Ahuereado, El Raigo, Koekatlan, and Abejas phases. The earliest evidence for human occupation in the Tehuacan Valley occurred during the Ahuereado phase. The phase was split into early and late zones, components by the TABP based on differences in artifact types and associated fauna. Minimally worked blades, end scrapers, and choppers are present within the zones of both subphases, but late Ahuereado deposits also contain bifacial projectile points, that is, Lerma and Abasolo points. Are you looking up the pronunciation?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oaxaca.
Oaxaca. Okay, so the X is like an H.
Yeah. That's what it says.
Okay, Oaxaca, and then, yeah, Koekatlan would be the name of the cave. So, in Koekatlan Cave, the early Ahuereado phase was associated with remains of Pleistocene fauna, but late Ahuereado phase deposits contained fauna similar to all subsequent phases. During the subsequent El Raigo phase, nomadic hunting and gathering continued as the primary subsistence strategies. End scrapers and choppers continued to be used, but at least 10 new lithic artifact types appeared in the archaeological record. Perishable items, including nets, coiled baskets, and mats, were also associated with El Raigo phase deposits.
I love the term basketry. Sorry,